asked me, well, but I was not responding to any emails or texts because I had to move and I also had to get my other house ready for sale. But now I'm back, so everything's back to normal. Send me an email if you have a question or post a comment under a video and I'll respond. All the emails that were sent in the last 2 months, I'm not responding to those because I checked and there's over 1,000 of them. And I'm not going back to 1,000 emails and taking time to respond to each one because I don't have the time. There's new emails coming in. Now you're wondering, how did the move go? Well, everything went somewhat okay, but the biggest problem was trying to figure out where to take everything from the old house and place it in the new house, especially in the RC hobby world. In my old house, I had much more space to store RC hobby gear just because of the design and layout of that house. This house, not so much. So I had to figure out where to put everything, and I'm going to show you a video on how I figured things out. So watch this. Now, as many of you remember, this was the Captain Drone house. This is where I had my studio, and this is where I made many videos. All right, we've moved all the furniture out of the house, so let me show you what the Captain Drone studio looks like now. Let me spin this camera around right over here, and there you go. That's my studio desk. That's what I sat up against. I had all the lights behind me, all the drones up here, and on the walls up there and back here were drones, and over here was a bunch of storage area. And then out this way is where I stored all my RC equipment. There was RC cars, RC planes, RC drones, RC helicopters on the walls everywhere. This was a small little studio office I had over here. So if I had to work on something for editing, it would be in this area, very tiny, nothing exciting there. Let's go back out, and yeah, so this was the area full of RC stuff, and it's all empty. And then over here, that was my workbench for fixing stuff, and down over here was storage, and back here was my music area. This is where I did the Jam Man 798 guitar tone music videos. This was all full of guitars and amps, and it is now all empty. Then on a very cold winter's day, we moved all our furniture to our new house. Unfortunately, the new house has much less space to store my hobby gear because the new house has many finished rooms. So this room you're looking at here will be my new studio. In addition, it also has to house all my existing RC hobby gear. So for everyone watching this, you know it is impossible to get everything that I previously owned back into this area. There is this hallway to the electrical box that I am going to use to store many of my RC products. And whatever doesn't fit, I will have to sell, and by the time you're watching this video, I've already sold off everything that doesn't fit in my new area. The first thing I did was went to Home Depot, bought some pegboards and some framing wood. I painted the pegboards white. With the framing wood installed, the pegboards now sit about an inch off the wall. On the right-hand side of the wall, I put a piece of gray wallpaper. It has a sticky back, so you just stick it to the wall. Next, I painted 2 orange stripes down the white pegboard. The reason they're orange is because the theme of this room is orange and gray. Then I added some pegboard anchors and started attaching all my FPV drones. Next, I ordered some floating shelves off of Amazon. Here we have the shelves. They have a very nice wood-looking finish to them. I ordered some orange sticky back wallpaper, and I'm going to place that on the shelves to make them orange. The shelves then turn from brown to orange. I was impressed by how nicely the shelves actually turned out. And when they're on the wall, they look even better. The purpose of the shelves is simply to hold the large helicopters in my inventory. Next, I focused my attention on this long wall. First, I added a strip of gray wallpaper. Once again, this is just a sticky back wallpaper. Next, I added a strip of orange sticky back wallpaper. Then I continued the orange wallpaper onto the next wall. Next, I added a series of shelves on both walls, so long shelves on one wall and shorter shelves on the other wall. Finally, I had some framing wood left over, so I placed it in sections on one of the walls, and this will be used to hang RC planes off of. Next, it was time to create the actual filming studio, and I'm going to create it in this very tiny space. First, I ordered some soundproof tiles off of Amazon. Then I glued them onto the wall that is directly behind me, so my head will be in front and these tiles will be in the rear. Alright, so you probably want to know, how does the studio look today and where did I put all the RC hobby products? Well, check this out. Okay, let's take a look at the finished products. So here we go. We have the FPV drones on the pegboard. Come nice and close. You can see little ones up there, and as we go down, we have larger and larger and larger ones. And then over here, we have the helis. And the helis, I have 5 large ones, but I only have 4 of them on display, so that means I'll probably get rid of 1. Then moving across, we have my little workbench over here, and down inside I have plenty of RC gear, coming up some tools, and of course a fire extinguisher, and up here is all my camera gear for filming the YouTube videos. And then if we go over to the left, we have our RC cars up on the shelves, and a motorcycle. I don't think there is a boat over there, even a plane up there. And then when we come down, I have another little cabinet here, or I should say a chest, and that's where I put all my chargers in there for various products. And down here in the drawers, I have the top one, I believe, is goggles, and then the next ones are radios and more radios. And then over here we have our charging station to charge up batteries, and above it we have our disc.
Down in KV for bigger props, but apparently you can use higher KV with the same motors on it, or you can change the motors out. But I've heard that there's been a lot of positive views with these systems, and they fly really great, and they've even accepted them in races. So I've got some on the way, and I'm going to probably review it in my next video. Anyway, I'll be doing some flight footage at the end of this, so you'll be able to see for yourself how it goes. Now this is got a 400 milliwatt VTX in it. It's got the Happy model EX12 2025 11,500 kV motors, PH2 connector, not very good. Calyx amp camera. I believe it's the same flight board as the Mobula 6. Pretty sure it is. It's got the ELRS ceramic antenna on there, and you get another canopy, probably a TPU made mount for the Peanut and the Insta360 Go, I do believe, but I won't be using that because I'll be changing this to Walk Snail. He uses a free 75mm prop, which is 3 inches. You get that for the camera as well, but I'm going to be swapping that out, so it don't matter. You get a couple of stickers. You get 75mm 3-inch blades, a couple of these they're like pads for the battery, but they don't work that well. A couple of spare rubber bands, screws and prop remover and a screwdriver. The other reason I like this as well, it's got the large screws in there, so hopefully that won't need changing out to put the Walk Snail VTX on there. So all you have to do is just take that plug out and solder 4 wires onto the board, and that's it. Yeah, you got yourself a HD system. So that's quite good. So that's my plan for this. Now, being the bigger bladed quad, it will lift up a lot more weight. And by the time I swap things over and directly solder it, it's not going to weigh much than it already weighs now, which is 40 gram. I flew this in the video you're about to see on a GMB 750. This ELRS version is version 2. I chose the highest rate.
又到了穿越机开箱时间，今天这一台是来自我们画古龙的 Patriot 120X Pro， 多了一个 Pro， 感觉好像是很厉害的。中文官方名字叫做海燕这是一台3寸的牙签机。那在之前的影片呢，我曾经有提过，穿越机主要可以分为说花飞、竞速、摄影、远航这4种主流的玩法。每一种玩法，它的硬体装配还有飞行风格都是完全不一样的哦。那牙签机比较像是竞速类型的一种竞速飞机里面它的其中一种哦。它的特色是什么呢？特色就是说， 小尺寸又轻量化的这种机身，还有下置电池啊，电池是装在机身下方的，这个都是牙签机的特色。那么废话不多说，我们直接开始吧。打开盒子，第一眼可以看到非常厚实的这个海绵垫啊，要先把它拿起来。我们先不要看飞机，我们先来看一下配件有哪些呢？这里是电池的绑带，看一下拍得清楚吗？电池的绑带，这个感觉像是皮质的，还是说它是合成皮？我不知道。像化骨龙的这个字样，我觉得蛮好看的。以电池绑带来说，这个算好看，真的好看。好，把它放旁边。然后2包桨，那这个海燕使用的桨是3016 3寸啊，3016 3叶桨。但是我觉得这个有一个很奇怪哦，它的这个 blade 这里啊，它的中心孔是这个附的是2mm，我觉得这个应该是有问题吧？这个因为以它这个电机来说，应该是1.5才对。然后我给你看我自己。这个3016，我自己也有3叶，你看刚好一模一样的，这个是他附送的。注意看这边是2mm，然后这是我的，好，我这个是1.5的，它有出1.5跟2的。我印象中这款电机应该都是用1.5才对，没关系，待会我再来试看看，看是怎么一回事啊。先放旁边。这一包看起来应该就是桨叶的螺丝吧。里面还有合格证，看一下，这个很不错哦，这个标语做的蛮好看的。安全飞行从我做起，对这个我们玩穿越机啊，或者是说空拍机、无人机这些，反正呢，航空模型就是安全最重要。底下还有一个这个垫子，我拿起来，看一下贴纸，哦，这个贴纸。我喜欢贴纸，我是最喜欢贴纸的。这个好像是新版的贴纸啊，之前那个怎么没看到？之前有一个小的、那个小恐龙的这个贴纸没有看到呢。新版贴纸，看一下这个是说明书，这个是它的飞空说明书。化骨龙啊，这个非常非常了不起的一件事就是有中文说明。而且是非常完整的接线图，真的是很棒啊！因为穿越机的厂家大家应该都知道，几乎是没有说明书的居多。
但是看完整个过程之后，觉得天哪，其实
还蛮值得的。
真的，因为
This Kinetic system, you can add whatever antennas you want, but this one you can't. So today I'm going to show you how to modify the goggles to add your own custom antenna mounts, and then we're going to go outside and test it to see how much better the performance gets.
The only things needed is a screwdriver, drill bits, and the adapters. To start, just take the goggles and you're going to peel off the little bits of foam which are covering the screws. Carefully work the little nose piece back and forth until it pops off. Now there are 6 little screws on the faceplate. Simply unscrew them and keep them in a safe place. After that, it comes off super easy. There are just 4 more screws on the bottom, and that'll allow you to take the rest apart. After removing those screws, the top and bottom will pop off. The only thing that needs to come unplugged is the fan, and just remember to plug it back in when you put it back together. Luckily, the antenna connections are very accessible. You'll simply just unplug those, and we'll plug in this adapter. But first, we'll have to drill a couple quick holes so that they'll fit into the covering. There wasn't a ton of room, and I had to make sure that there was clearance on the inside for these adapters, so I ended up putting it a little higher up on the edge, as you can see here. Here I'm drilling a pilot hole, and then I found a larger 1/4 6-inch drill bit was the perfect size to fit the adapter through. And I simply slowly drilled it out. I decided to place the second adapter on the top of the goggles for my Omni antenna. The first pair of adapters that I just had laying around were a little too short, so I ended up using some 6-inch adapters, and that was the perfect size. Now take those 3 pieces off the adapter and thread it into place. First, you'll grab this little ring with the teeth and point the teeth into the plastic. Next is the lock ring, and then use the nut to tighten it all on. I grabbed some pliers because I wanted to make sure this was nice and tight and that it wasn't spinning around when I was trying to get my antenna on. A quick test showed it was good. Now just repeat this process with your second antenna. Now simply slide the plates back together, and it's time to connect the antennas. I carefully routed the antenna lines and then snapped the pieces back together. Screw in those 4 screws here. Snap the faceplate back on and then screw it into place. Now all you have to do is replace the foam in the nose piece and you're good to go. You can now add whatever antennas you want. I'm super excited to see how well this Menace RC Viper patch antenna works. In a previous video, I came to this exact same trail and tested the Beta FPV system with the stock antennas. Now I'm back to fly it again so we can do a direct comparison. Starting with the footage of the stock antennas. This is an extreme penetration test, and it's pretty simple. You just fly until the video system gives out. This is a perfect place for this test because there's tons of twists and turns, trees, and branches that block the video signal. This footage is from a previous video where I tested Beta FPV system against Caddx. I was surprised how well both systems did, but Beta FPV ended up beating out Caddx, and I think it's because it got higher powered VTX. And it wasn't a huge surprise that DJI did the best, but it wasn't too far ahead from Beta FPV. I'm really hoping with these custom antennas, we can even get closer to the same distance as DJI. Okay, we're getting close to the failing point. Remember these groups of trees for when we go and test this again with the patch antenna. I found with these cheaper digital systems, the video starts to get really muddy and then it stutters, and that's when you know it's gonna fail. Just like that. And here's the upgraded goggles with the Menace RC Viper patch. It's an absolutely beautiful day out here, and this path was packed with people, and it took a little while before I could even start flying. I'm not sure if I'm just getting used to these systems, but I feel a lot more confident going down this path, and I'm moving a little bit faster. Given the different lighting, I really can't tell if the picture is better with the stock antennas or with this patch. Now we're coming up on that group of trees. Let's see how far we can go. And now we're getting really close. There's that log we were talking about. And we're passing it. We're a little past, and I have to turn around. Definitely a little bit farther. Now let's check out how close it is to DJI. We're at the end of the range here, and I had to turn around right now. Barely made it without crashing. Okay, heading back down. And that's the log right there, so there. Now DJI definitely has a better image quality, but the range, there wasn't too much of a difference, maybe 40 feet. In the last video, I also did a little bit of a long range test here. I'm gonna follow the exact same path and see if I can get even further again. This way we can really confirm whether the patch is helping that much or not. I'm just gonna follow this sidewalk as far as I can until the video system gives out. It does go behind some trees and different obstacles, which will help it give out sooner. If I just stayed within line of sight, this video system will go pretty far, and I know that my radio link would fail before the video system, so that's why I'm doing it this way. And I'm not sure how much different it is from last time, but I do want to say when I am in line of sight and the signal's strong, the picture is pretty dang good. And then as soon as I go behind something, it does get muddled and it'll stutter sometimes. But overall, the penetration is pretty good. I think it's definitely better than most analog setups, and it's getting close to DJI in some ways, which is insane. It doesn't hold a picture as good. It seems that you can push it a little further with the video quality getting kind of bad, rather than DJI, which just, the video quality is really good, and then all of a sudden it starts stuttering and gives out. With this system, it seems like the picture gets pretty muddled, and you can really just keep pushing it like I am here. I'll be really impressed if I can get to the end of this second pond here, because if I remember right, I think we've already gotten further than the stock antennas got. The video quality is pretty muddled here, and I am getting RX loss warnings like crazy. The little wire receiver antenna on the Matrix just isn't cutting it. But the video signal was on its last leg too. And look, it's the little Frisbee golf basket that we made it to last time. I'd say that's a definite improvement. And with a little bit of altitude gain, getting back into that line of sight, the video quality gets way better. Now that I'm higher up, I want to see if I can push it to the end of the second pond. And again, what you guys can't hear are those RX loss warnings, which are always super scary because I've definitely had a couple quads go down with RX loss. Well, we did it, and the video signal looks plenty strong. I really need to get a better receiver antenna on here and a GPS so I can do a real long-range test. But for now, I'm really happy with these results. When Cheap Digital came out, I thought these systems were going to be complete trash. How was anyone going to fly on that much latency, and was the video quality actually going to be that good? Well, there's definitely some latency, and the video quality isn't as good as DJI. But I can see a real future here for long-range aircraft. You don't need super low latency for long range, and it helps so much to get a clearer picture when compared to analog. I mean, what's the point of flying long range if you can't really see where you're flying? And with analog, at least in my experience, once you get pretty far out, it's just so staticky, it's really hard telling where you are or seeing anything. So it's nice being able to fly kind of far still and being able to see everything so well. I know a lot of people were on the fence about Beta FPV, mostly because there was no VRX. Well, this still isn't a VRX, but at the same time, it's going to help you with latency, and you can still use your custom antennas. So for some of you holding out, this right here, this upgrade, might make it worth it for you to get this system. I definitely am happy with it, and I'm excited to try a complete range test in the future. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments, so let me know down below. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.
So you clicked on this video, meaning you want to get into FPV drones. I did too about a year ago, and let me tell you, it is totally worth it. I have loved every minute of it. However, I have had some frustrations, and I know the struggle of how hard it can be to get into the hobby. There's so much new information you need to know, like what gear do you need, how much money is it going to cost, how do you get better. I'm going to cover all those topics today and just simplify everything. The first question we need to answer is, what exactly is an FPV drone? Well, here I have a cinematic drone. This is a DJI Mini, and the main difference is this one is self-leveling and it's got position hold, a GPS, while your FPV quadcopters will not self-level. You usually fly them in what's called acro mode, meaning you push the stick forward, it's going to go forward, and if you're holding your stick forward, it's going to keep going forward until you flip. So it's all manual. And what this allows you to do is basically puts you on a roller coaster in three-dimensional space, and you're the pilot. It's the funnest thing ever. Just being able to fly and having so much freedom to go wherever. I'm not bashing on this guy. This has its time and its place. But for me personally, this is way more fun to fly. How do you get started in FPV quadcopters? And let me tell you, it is not going to be building a 5-inch or larger quadcopter. That's just not smart. You're going to crash it. You're going to break it. It's going to cost you a ton of money. The very first thing to do when wanting to get into FPV is to get a radio. This is what controls your quadcopter. This is the Radio Master Pocket ELRS version. This is the best budget-friendly beginner radio. It's small, it's durable, and it's pretty cheap. This thing comes in around $75 from Amazon, and if this is all you can afford, that is okay. There is a little USB-C port here. You can plug it into a simulator where you fly a quadcopter, and it's pretty realistic to real life. And this is where you're going to learn to fly the quad. You'll crash it in the simulator, and it's not going to cost you anything. That's why you want to practice in the simulator before you get a real quadcopter in most instances, so you're not just spending a ton of money trying to fix it because you're going to crash it so much at the start. I'm not going to go into depth a ton on the simulators. There's tons of good videos out there, complete tutorials on them. I'm just going to say I used Liftoff drones and I loved it. It costs like $10 to $20 or something. You get it off Steam and can play it on your computer. But you might say, wait, I don't even have a computer. I want to do drones. Can I get into it without a simulator? Yes, you can. Some people would say no, you have to start in a simulator, but that's simply not true. This is how right here. They're called Tiny Whoops. These are FPV quadcopters, the smallest kind you can get. They are all plastic. They kind of look like toys, but let me tell you, this is still hobby grade. This thing is amazing. You can crash this thing like crazy, and it'll keep flying. So you have to crash it pretty hard to break it, and it only costs around $100 for this thing, compared to $200 plus on bigger quadcopters. So you can start with one of these because you'll be able to keep crashing. You can fly indoors and practice all the time. This is great for during the winter when you can't really go outside and fly quadcopters anyway. Okay, so you got your radio. You know you want a Tiny Whoop to start out, and then you're gonna have to choose some goggles. When buying your goggles, there are 3 kinds to choose from: analog, HD0, and digital are the 3 main kinds. Analog, the quality is not super good, but it is a lot cheaper for the quadcopters at least. HD0 has a little bit better quality, and then digital is the best quality. HD0 and analog have low latency, which just means there's not like lag when you're looking through the goggles at the video. Do yourself a favor, simply put, just go analog. And that is because the quadcopters with analog gear are going to cost a lot less. And just starting out, it's not like you're going to be filming crazy stuff in HD that you're going to want to share. Just practice at least with the analog for a while before upgrading to digital. HD0, you might want to start with that. Do your research, but I would recommend analog just for the price alone. These are the goggles I have currently. They're SkyZone 040 Pros. And these cost about $300. You do not need to invest this much money to start out with. The most popular option is the Eachine 800D, which is going to give you the best bang for your buck. If you decide you don't like FPV quadcopters, that's okay. You didn't break the bank as much. The Eachine 800Ds will cost around $100. Radio, goggles, quadcopter, charger, batteries. You can get flying and practicing with just these 5 things. I want to thank Newbie Drone for sending me this little Tiny Whoop. It is the perfect quadcopter for beginners and experts alike. Just people who want to practice indoors. It will fly outdoors as well. I'm going to show you how to get started with this. We're going to bind it to our radio and give you some tips on flying it and tell you what I think about it. First thing we're going to want to do is power on the radio.
Welcome to HTX Flight Mode Acro.
Show you a little closer here. We're going to click on System, Express LRS, scroll down to the bottom, and be ready to click Bind with that scroll wheel. Now we're going to take the drone, and they give you this telling you how to do it. I'll show you how to do it. There's 2 methods. We're going to plug in, and see here that green LED is blinking slowly. You click the bind button, which is at the front. I'm going to use some tweezers. You do it through the camera. That guy. Right there. Click it down. It's blinking fast now, meaning it's in bind mode. Click bind. And we've got these little telemetry bars here, meaning we have successfully connected to the Tiny Whoop. Before you actually fly, you're going to want to charge all of your batteries. I have the ViFly Whipster here. You can plug it in through just a USB-C port for your battery, another battery. I'm just going to plug in a 4S battery here. And at the top left, it's going to show you the amps, the voltage of your battery, and then the voltage you're going to charge to. So these batteries here, if you look at them, says 4.35 volts, so that's what we're going to charge them to. So make sure you know what your battery is charged to. So I just hit voltage set, and that changes how high it goes. 4.35 volts is what we want. And then for the current set, we don't want to charge it quite that much. 0.5 amps should be fine for these little guys, and it'll charge it up in a little over a half an hour. So rule is, really you don't want to go over 2C, which just simply 300 milliamps will charge in an hour at 0.3. So you wouldn't want to go over 0.6, and I'm just going to do 0.5 to play it safe. Then like I said before, line up the ridge with the ridge on here, put it in, and you'll see it's at 3.81 volts. Hold down the start, it's charging, and you can watch the volts go up. It's going to go until it hits 4.35. The cool thing about the ViFly Whipster is you can charge 6 batteries at the same time. You do high voltage LiPos, the 4.35 volts. You can do the normal LiPos at 4.2 volts. You can charge all 6 of these, and you can choose how fast you want to charge them. Let's say one of the batteries done, I can take it out, use it in my Tiny Whip. Once it's dead, put it back in while I'm flying the other ones, and then by the time the other ones are dead, this one will be ready to go again. And basically, I can fly as long as I want to. Now that the radio and the Tiny Whip are bound together, every time you turn on the Tiny Whip, it should to your radio here. Next, we're going to get the goggles and make sure it's on the same frequency as your Tiny Whip so that when you turn them both on, you actually see something in here. To do this, I'm going to turn the Tiny Whip on.
Telemetry recovered.
Turn on your goggles. And I'm going to put the goggles on and start recording. So yep, right now I'm not getting an image. I'm on channel, if you see E1 here. So what you're going to want to do is just start scrolling, or you can use the auto search function. That works as well. So we'll try to do F, and we'll scroll through all the options. F2, I'm getting something. F3, I'm getting something. So F2 is better, and that allows us to read the on-screen display down on the bottom. And I'll just real quick, fly minutes, that's your how long you've been flying. 99 with the bars, that's your radio link. It's how good the transmission is between your radio and the quadcopter. So if it's going down, that means your radio has a weaker signal. And then next to it, we can just see Hummingbird V4, R4, and 25. So that's the channel that it's actually set to. And then 25 is the power. It's on angle mode currently, and then battery is on the right. You'll want to watch that so your battery doesn't fully die when you're flying. So right now we're worried about that channel R4. So I need to match R4. So whatever goggles you have, you would want to go to R4 or whatever it says. So we got R and then 4. So I have it set to R4. I know that's the correct channel, so that we're going to get the best possible image. Now I'm going to show you how to change the power modes without even going onto the computer. This is super nice, so you don't have to download Betaflight, at least now. It's something you'll want to get into later. Go halfway up, you're going to go to the left and up at the same time, just like that. And that turned on the menu. And to navigate the menu, you're going to use the right stick. That'll go down, that'll go up, that'll select, and that'll select the other way. And I'll show you here where to go. So you go down to features, select it,